Hello everyone, this is PotatoLegion here. Hope you're keeping very well. Just reading this live developer update that has just appeared today. So I'm going to quickly go over it. This is actually a reaction as well because I've not read it. So let's just quickly go over the developer update changes. So the first one they've mentioned is blood web costs. So last month we've overhauled the new progression system and it seems like they're actually changing the blood web costs. So let's just quickly go over it. I'm not going to read all of it. So it seems that it's gone down by roughly 33%. So the old price for event stuff was 3,000 common. We all know the old prices. They've made it so it's 2,000 now, and then 2,500 for uncommon, rare 3,250, very rare 4,000, and then 5,000. So yeah, you guys will be able to grind the blood point system a lot quicker, which is actually really, really nice. So that's pretty good to know. Seems like I'll be getting Wesker very high leveled very quickly. So basically they're just mentioning why they're doing it. Now this is an interesting one. So camping and tunneling. In this mid-pass chapter, we've added a 5-second endurance and haste effect to all unhooked survivors. These status effects are designed to give the unhooked survivor a fighting chance by allowing them to get to a nearby pallet or window if the killer decides to chase them again. We've released this feature with safe numbers to ensure that things don't get out of hand. Now that we've had some time to see how they play out, we feel comfortable increasing them further. In the next update, we're increasing the haste and endurance effect to 10 seconds. Additionally, we'll be increasing the haste effect to 10% from 7%. That's a huge buff for survivors. Basically, free old borrowed time, which is insane. It's actually better because it's got a 10% haste effect as well. I actually do kind of agree with this because if the killer is camping in shack and in basement in particular, if you're saved with regular BT as it stands, you actually can't get out. So there's no counterplay in that scenario. So to be fair, it's punishing killers for going after somebody who just got off hook. So yeah, honestly, I can see why they've done it, especially in Shack in particular. Okay, let's see what they've done about Metal of Man. In the recent update, we released a new version of Metal of Man, which worked consistently with other endurance effects. Many of you voiced concerns with this version of the perk being weaker than before, favoring a harder to earn effect that couldn't be lost. Our intention with this change was to never make the perk weaker. Therefore, alongside the chapter release, we will be reverting the recent update to Metal of Man. Metal of Man will instead grant a unique protection effect that is not cancelled by conspicuous actions like endurance. To help differentiate them, the perk will no longer cause the endurance status effect to appear. They've just reverted Metal of Man. Okay, fair enough. I think Metal of Man taking 3 hits is kind of a big deal, so it's not really a huge problem. Right, post PTB changes. The halls of the Raccoon City police station were packed in a PTB. Whether you were hurling survivors at literal breakneck speeds or being hurled, we want you to thank you for taking your time to leave your feedback. We're making a few changes in time for the release. As always, these changes are by no means final. We'll continue to monitor how everything performs when it's basically released. Okay, I'm a bit nervous about this. We'll start with the mastermind himself, Albert Wesker. One thing we noticed during the PTB was that his collision detection on the mastermind's rush was a little bit too sensitive, causing the killer to bump into objects that he shouldn't have. For the release, we've toned this down so you don't accidentally bump into obstacles as often. Thank you, behavior. We've also polished the way Virtual Unbound interacts with pallets and windows. During the PTB, survivors would not take any damage if the mastermind bounded towards them as they were vaulting. This was not intentional. The mastermind will now hit them with his tentacle if they're caught in the middle of a vault. Additionally, survivors could wait on the other side of the pallet, vaulting back over it before the mastermind could attack after vaulting. Going forward, standing too close to a vault location as the mastermind bounds over will result in the survivor being injured. Yes! Come on, behavior! Keep these changes. Punish survivors for looping back at pallets. This is what his power is about. That is insane. Insane. That might push him to close to S tier. Fuck yes. Nice, nice, nice. I'm a Wesker man. You guys don't say nothing. Next, we revisited his power in loops. We found his base movement speed between bounds to be a little slow, making it difficult to get in position for another bound. For the release, we have increased his movement speed between bounds to 2.76 from 2.3, the speed previously achieved by the loose crank add-on. Since this add-on has been base kit, we've reduced his movement speed to 8% from 20% to compensate for a new total of 2.98. Another buff to Wesker, yes. People were thinking they're gonna nerf him. Hell no. Behavior said, we're going to buff this guy. Yes, come on, Behavior. One of the quirks with the version bound is its ability to throw survivors at each other, injuring both survivors in the process. Oftentimes, these unfortunate enough to have their friends flung at them would not even realize that they'd been injured. To make this more obvious, being injured from healthy from a survivor thrown by the mastermind will now cause deep wounds. The chances of you being hit with this is very unlikely, but damn, that is another buff. Just avoid the survivor being thrown at you. Last but not least, we've slightly toned down the survivor collision detection of the mastermind's bound. We found it to be a little bit too generous, fair enough, allowing the killer to grab survivors when they're not in front of him. This change will require a little bit more precision on the killer's part to make Virgin Bound feel fairer for survivors. Behavior, just delicious. Absolutely good soup right there. Fuck yes. Excuse my language, but fuck yes. Let's see some of these perk tweaks. Reassurance. This perk allows you to pause the hook progression on another survivor, buying you and your team more time to work on generators if the killer is camping. On the PTB, Reassurance had a 40-second cooldown and could be used repeatedly. When coordinated with other survivors, this could have abused to keep the hook survivor permanently on the hook, preventing them from being sacrificed against their will. For the release, we've removed the cooldown of Reassurance. Instead, Reassurance can only be used once per hook instance. This effect on this perk can still be chained together if multiple survivors are running it, for a maximum delay of 90 seconds. That's actually really nice. So it's only 90-second max now. So what's that? 3 survivors that can use it? Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a healthy change because people could just abuse it and keep somebody on hook intentionally until they, you know, nothing. They'd just be stuck. Awakened Awareness. This perk grants a killer aura reading while they're carrying survivor. On the PTB, this effect also lingered for 2 seconds after carried survivor is dropped. Hooked or wiggled free. This effect could be a little oppressive on certain killers, especially when paired with Lethal Pursuer to extend the aura reading effect and Starstruck to make survivors exposed. For the release, we've removed the lingering aura reading from Awakened Awareness. As a result, Lethal Pursuer will no longer extend its duration. Okay. Don't know how I feel about that change, but I guess it makes sense. Do we really want a nurse having this? Low profile. Low profile hides your scratch marks and pools of blood when you become the last survivor. For the, it's only 89 seconds. Unfortunately, this meant the perk would only activate once per match, and only if you happen to be the last survivor standing. For the release, we have changed this to include any time you are the only survivor who is not dying, hooked, or dead, allowing it to activate throughout the match. Additionally, low profile will also mask your grunts of pain in addition to its existing effects. It will activate... that confused me. You're the only survivor who is not dying, hooked, or dead. So basically, if everyone in your team is like dying, you can make a sneak attack to save them. That's basically what I'm getting from this. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I don't think that's a big deal. Basically, if all your team is slugged or injured, this activates for the next 70, 80, 90 seconds, and you have no scratch marks stuff. It just allows you to get a sneak up and save your team, I guess. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. Better than new. This perk granted any survivor you healed a 6% action speed bonus for repairing, healing, chest opening, and term cleansing for 20, 30, 35 seconds. We found the duration of this perk to be a little low to make much use of its bonus speed. For release, we've made a few changes to this perk. Better than new now grants a 12%, 14%, so basically 16% action speed bonus to healing, chest opening, and term cleansing and blessing. Doesn't say gen speeds. Better than new no longer has a duration. Survivors instead keep the bonus until the next time they take damage. We hope this will make it a bit easier to get value out of it. Doesn't say about gens, so that's good. I don't really care if Survivor can heal someone else a bit faster, but the fact that they didn't do it with gens is nice. It's basically like a better Overzealous, yes. Finally, we've come to Raccoon City Police Station. In this chapter, the map has been split into 2, the East Wing and the West Wing. Each map includes a main hall and a small section of the opposite wing, greatly reducing its size compared to the original. We've also opened a new pathways between various rooms to make the map easier to navigate, as well as widening some hallways to make it feel less claustrophobic and allow more interesting gameplay. In the PTB, we found there were too many pallets scattered around the map, and it's been reduced. That's really nice. With that, we've reached the end of it, and doesn't mention when it's coming out, so don't bother asking me, but if I had to guess, I'd say next week, Tuesday. Overall, I love these changes. I think the Wesker update is going to be just juicy. He's going to be very high A tier now. Just you can't camp pallets against him. You've got to basically leave the pallet, otherwise he's going to body block you. And he can now hit you with windows and vaults, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Good luck vaulting in front of Wesker foreheads. You can't do it. You're gonna, but they made it so his window is a lot smaller, so it's gonna take a little bit more skill to land your attacks. But that is some very nice changes overall. And if you guys want to join in next Tuesday with me, I'm actually doing a Wesker cosplay when he is released. And yes, I'll be playing tons of this killer, so expect loads of content. But anyway, enjoy this update video. Link in the description if you want to read it yourself. Bye!
私の名は吉良義景、年齢33歳。自宅は森王町北東部の別荘地帯にあり、結婚はしていない。